Hello, and welcome to episode 33 of Dick Moby, my unreading of the great American novel of 1851, Herman Melville's Moby Dick. The worst book I've ever read, the only book that I would like to unread, which is what I've been doing for 33 hours of my life and counting. Well, 32, this is episode 33, so this is the 30th. We don't want to be mathematically inaccurate, only linguistically inaccurate, as I unread this book. We had reached, during the last episode, what I'd like to say is the midpoint of chapter 54, but actually I think we're about 4% through, even though it's been going on forever already. This is a behemoth of a chapter, a leviathan. So hopefully today we will finish that. If you think this is worth supporting in any way, then you can like or subscribe, or in other ways, just click on things. Click on the buttons that surround this window, or the window in which you will be watching this later on demand on YouTube. Click on those. They change colour, they light up, they do all sorts of things. They might even make a sound. I don't know, I have them muted all the time. But if you click on some of those, it would validate my existence. You could also, if you want to give anything financially, don't give it to me, and give it to the National Video Game Museum. There is a link down there, except it's not a link. I couldn't work out how to do a link, so you have to type it in. Sorry about that, but, pull your weight. During the last episode, we found a grand total of no sperms. None at all. The sperm buffer is clear. We'll try again this time. None at all, no sperms. We're keeping track of how far through the book we get by the sperm count. There are 271 individual instances of the word sperm that appear in Moby Dick. And each time we find a sperm, we draw it on the sperm buffer, this small board, just here. And then I later transfer it onto the big board. It's a sort of progress bar through the book. You can see how far we've got. We found loads of sperm, but last time we found no sperm. I think the record is 18 sperms in one episode. But disappointingly, we didn't find any sperms. I'm afraid of no sperm. Do Sperm Busters, as the song goes, the Ray Parker Jr. classic. We didn't find any sperm. Possibly sperm don't exist. So yes, we'd reached this far. Only 3 were left, except obviously left were 3 only. As we head backwards through this book, I'm reinvigorated after a week of no day job work, and I've been away camping with my wife and children. And I have some wine, one of my top 2 favourite flavours of wine, red wine. The other being fortified wine. Let us continue and make some progress. Let's see if we can get through this chapter at least today, which is, I think that'll break the back of it. I don't think we're going to finish the book today. We have 54 chapters left to go. But if we can finish chapter 54, I think the rest of them they'll topple like dominoes from that point on. So let's crack on. Left were 3 only. This is where we got to. Left were 3 only. Them restrained to sort that below arms desperate the from air the into upbolted mutineers the of others 3 morning 5th that on. Belonged he where himself betaken babbling his stop to hint terrific of him to up-shouted steel-kilt butt. Now, I don't know what's going on in this chapter. I've absolutely no idea. Usually I can get some context, but this chapter's been going on for far too long. I had to stop halfway through. I don't know who Steel-Kilt is. I've no idea who half of these characters are. What I think is happening is that rather than Herman Melville choosing to write action that occurs in the story itself to Ahab and the hapless crew in their quest to destroy the monster Moby Dick, what I think is happening here is that Ahab is telling the rest of the crew another story about a whole other ship that has no part in this story apart from Ahab having heard this story somewhere else. So I think we're kind of in metafiction here. So we can't really blame Herman Melville himself for how shit this chapter is, because actually it's one of his characters writing it, making it up as he goes. I'm not convinced this is true, that any of this story. Obviously the rest of Moby Dick is a true story. Is it? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's all fiction. Who knows? Most of it's just describing a whale anyway. Where was I up to? But still killed up with captain. This by emboldened. Discretion, surrender to them constrained had. Retribution, ultimate of fears some to perhaps united. Diet famishing and. Air the of closeness fetid there. Hello, Amy in the chat. We've got Amy in the chat. Hello. Sorry if you felt tricked that this was anything other than me just reading this backwards. I actually am reading this backwards, word for word, chapter by chapter, from now until the heat death of the universe. To turn to ready were they saying, forecastle the from upburst men for suddenly and. Delivered was summons customary the as. Heard was scuffling then and. Wrangling confused the morning forth the on but. Repeated was this days 3 for day every twice. Quarter deck the to return captain the. It pocketing, and them upon key the turning again when. It after tossed were biscuits. I'm not sure where this is going. It after tossed were biscuit of handfuls of couple at hand. Them to down lowered then was water. I think we're about to find the sperms in this story. Refused they yell with but. Work to prisoners the summoned. Deck the on knocking and. Forward went captain the sunrise at. You see, all of this is dialogue. It reads like an actual story, but this is all dialogue. Presumably in the voice of Ahab, but I don't actually know who's delivering this monologue. Ship through resounded dismally night dreary, the through intervals at clanking and clinking, whose pumps the at hard toiling duty there it remains still who mend the peace in past darkness of hours the but. Below bulkhead the through breaking after emerge might insurgents, the feared was it place last which at. Hatchway fore and scuttle forecastle the about especially, aft and forward. Officers the all by kept was watch wide awake a night all. Neutral remained had far thus who. I see at this point I'm really glad I didn't try and do accents for all of the different characters, mainly because most of the character dialogue in this book is hideously racist, but also. Like, imagine if I'd started reading this and I'd given Ahab, I assume this is Ahab speaking, the voice of, a squeaky Darlington accent, like one of the Stotts. Then I'd be stuck, wouldn't I? Now I'd be hoarse already. Neutral remained, had far thus who. More or 20 some deck on leaving, number in 10. Them upon key the turn. I have made that mistake before. I started reading Peppa Pig, a book forwards to my children. Now we're not at home to Peppa Pig. We don't watch Peppa Pig on television. We're not Peppa Pig's people, right? But we do have one book, and I started reading it the first time that I'd read it. And I decided to do exactly that. When Grandma came into the story at one point, I decided that Grandma would talk in the falsetto Darlington accent of Donald Stott. On the assumption that she would appear for one page only. All the previous entrances and exits of the characters had lasted exactly a page. I thought I'd seen the pattern. But then it turned out Grandma was the protagonist in this story and played a part in every subsequent page, so I had to read the entire book. Over half of the remaining text of the book was delivered like Donald Stott, which was awful. My kids didn't know why I was doing it. They were crying. Nobody slept. It was terrible. Where was I anyway? I sidetracked myself all the time. This neutral remained. I'm going to go from here. I assume I was here. Was I? Have I missed this? Did I miss this out already? No, I read this insurgents thing. Yes. Neutral remained had fathers who. More or 20 some deck on leaving, number in 10. Them upon key the turned and. It closed. Crack the down something, whispered Captain the. Little a slide the opening then. Companion way the to belonging padlock brass heavy. The bring to steward the for called loudly and. It upon hands of group there planted. Scuttle the of slide the over drawing rapidly and. Barricade the leapt posse his and captain the. Planks the with level just was head bare lakeman's the as. Cave into bears like, disappearing growlingly. Den dark there into down him proceeded they, steel kilt to obedience in length at butt. It against were them of most men his to ringleader the cried, we shall go ye down. Quite an abrupt instruction. Go ye down. It of sick ye till there ye keep isle. Ye with down, then forecastle the into down. Turn hands ado, don't we? Us flogging not about word the say you till but. Us attack ye unless ye against hand a lift won't we? Rascal shabby as such for hung be and. Ye kill then rather, captain. Now is it what you tell I? Said then and moment a him round glanced steel kilt. Captain the roared. Oh, I've got a roar. Captain the roar. To turn! That was me roaring. It's good. Good, wasn't it? Flogged be won't we but. Worked ready are we. Peaceable be to want we. Interest our not its. Row our want don't we so. Down is anchor the as soon as discharge our claim can we, sir. Know well you as now. Seed ye. Crews the foreshipped have who? Them of one am I and. Hear us of few are there. Him towards arm his out flinging, Lakeman the cried, now ye look. Say I, to turn promises no make I, to turn. Flogged be won't we but. Men your we're and, decently us treat, to turn to ready are we. All it forget, fool a be don't, word the say, yourself to look, God by, captain, hearty's my, oh good grief. Actually probably getting into the nautical cove language here. Captain, hearty's my, handspikes those to look. Men there forecastle thee in down knives mincing, those aren't. Jaw cursed his against here finger a broken have I believe I. Buffalo the prick. Buffalo the prick. To not him told I. This before me known have might he. Business boys was it. Away hammer his take to him told I. It want didn't we? Fault our not its. These are sentences such out jerking and captain the on eye his keeping while the all barricade the patrolled now Lakeman there. Response there was cheer fierce comrades his to turning. Men, ye say what? Us against rope yarn are raised to not swear you unless to turns us of man are not. Sink her let I, Steelkilt cried. Ship the sink? Pistol a raised more once he and. To turn. This like time a at off knocking by. Ship the sink to want you do. Duty your to. Promise no make I. To turn, to turn. Ringleader there demanded. Do we if? Us touch to not promise you will. Duty there to return to instantly insurgents, the commanded still but. Desisted little a captain there. True too, but prove might this lest heart his in fearing. Hands all of part the on mutiny murderous are for signal the bee would death, Steelkilts. His that. Distinctly understand to captain the gave but. Do could pistols the worst to the defied. There down and up striding and barricade the onleapt Steelkilt. Cutthroats ye, that of outcome, steward the by him to, I don't know why I'm apologising like this makes any sense anyway. Steward the by him to brought just, hand in each pistol are with them menacing now, captain the roared. Pirates ye, that of outcome. Oh, that's where the pirate languages come in. There's literally pirates involved, actual pirates. Barricade the, speaking of which, you may have noticed that my face has become considerably smaller because from being Redbeard, Huge Beard, whatever pirate moniker you would like to give me. Last week I trimmed it off. I was getting sick of it. I couldn't eat. I was literally finding cereal in my beard hours after breakfast. So it was time to get rid of it, I'm afraid. And with going away camping, I didn't want to get it caught in the guy ropes. I thought it was best to get rid of it while I still could. So here I am, fresh-faced. I look 10 minutes younger. I don't feel it. Barricade the behind themselves entrenched sea Parisians these, windlass the with line in casks large 4 or 3 about, slewing hastily, where deck forecastle the gaining in succeeded they. All them for much too were desperadoes his and steel-kilt butt, resentment his of object the out prick to sort, pike his with it of heart the into prying and confusion the of border revolving the to up close ran he, intervals at, quarter deck the to along him smoke and, scoundrel atrocious that man handle to officers his upon calling, whale pike with down and up danced Captain Valiant the, way harms of outstanding while, ensued turmoil, I scrolled a bit by accident, I might as well go for it now, ensued turmoil twisted and, attempt this in them with joined sailors the of others. Forecastle the towards it of outman there dragged to sort and uproar the into rushed canalers, who knows, to the comets baleful like ropes the down sliding butt. Deck the to him crowded all who harpooneers 4 the and mates junior 3 the by surrounded was he when so done he had hardly backstay the shook lakeman the where gentleman off left eye. I can't believe how long this chapter is. It's ridiculous. Story the butt. Hills the as holy and cold were generations the north temperate you're at that now thought had I. Lima 1 worlds the travel to need no. Ruffle silvery his upon shisha. We had this last time. I think that's shisha as in the pipe, but spelled in an 18th century manner. Upon shisha his spilling, Pedro Don exclaimed impetuously, "See I! See I!" Seas barbaric, most the of waters the ploughing recklessly and cornfield Christian in reaping quietly between transition soul the furnishes canal grand the of life probationary the line its along born men young and boys rural are of thousands many to that. Matter this of curiousness the diminish all at it does nor. Captains whaling hour by distrusted much so are men Sydney except. Mankind of race any scarce that and graduates finished most its of many so contains fish whale fishery, confusing hyphenation there, contains whale fishery wild hour that this by evinced emphatically is life canal this of wildness the what gentlemen some in one wealthy a plunder to as straight at in stranger poor a back to arm and stiff as has he times at that violence of manure of qualities redeeming prime the of one often is it but ungrateful not be fain would heartily him thank I. There it is again, canalers these of one from turns good received have I. Canal see it's obviously to do with a canal, but canalers I don't even know if that's a word. I'm not going to dig out the Big Oxford again to check that one. I'm going to give Herman the benefit of the doubt, given that could be a made-up word that Ahab's made up, not Herman Melville himself. Melville being a slave to Ahab's obsession at this point. I wouldn't know. I don't know what obsession is like. Canal own his on vagabond a once. Cities in unshunned not our swagger bold and visage swart his. Floats he which through villages the of innocence smiling the to terror features grand his betoken hat gaily ribboned and slouched his. Sports proudly so canala. I'm going to have to make a decision on this one. Canala. I'm going to say canala because it's to do with a canal. Canala the which guise brigandish the. Dashed is effeminacy this all ashore but. Deck sunny the upon thigh apricot his ripening. Cleopatra. See, what are you talking about now? Cleopatra red cheeked his with toying openly. Floats indolently he. Nile flowery. Green turfed his along days and days for. Antony Mark like. He is wicked picturesquely and abundantly so. Hero dramatic fine a make wood canala. The gentleman vocation own his in depicted freely. Again outpour you now. Refill I here thanks. Cup your It purge Dominic Saint. Mark Saint. Evangelist blessed the of city holy there been have I, Venice, too so, Lima as corrupt, and it's just word after word. It is. These words could literally be randomly generated or created by some kind of poorly trained neural network that generates nonsense for me to unread. This could go on forever. This chapter could just be a joke. This webpage that I'm reading this from, Gutenberg.org, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I recommend you avoid it. But it could actually be a JavaScript random Great American Novel generator at this point. I'm becoming paranoid. Where was I? Oh yes. Lima is corrupt and open ever for and billiard tables than plentiful more churches. 2. Saying your outbears but it. Lima as corrupt. Coast this along all proverb the know you. Oh, it's a proverb, Lima as corrupt. Surprised look and bow not do. Oh. Comparison corrupt your in Venice distant for Lima present substituting not in delicacy your overlooked means no by have we that. Sailor sir, you to express to desire but I. Limes us all of name the inn. Company the of another cried, pardon, moment ah. Senor, proceed. Sebastian Don laughed. Lima in Wayne's Inquisition Isabella's dame. Friend Northern our farewell. Concern humorous with. Plaza, I assume Plaza, crowded the into downwards looking. Pedro Don said, passing friar that is. Vicinity's holiest in abound most, gentlemen. Sinners so justice of halls the around encamp ever they that freebooters metropolitan your of noted often is. Good grief. Never heard of a full stop, has he? Your of noted often is it as fatality curious some by 4. Churches of Lee patronising snug the and shadow long flung the under. You to door next, them find ever you wear. Pagans your howl there, gentlemen. Ashanti true your theirs. Life lawless often and corrupt Venetianly of stream continual one flows. Milestone like almost stand spires whose chapels snow white. Of rose by especially and counties Mohawk noble those of scenery contrasting wide the all through broken or hearts happy by shade and sun through rivers Indian over arches Roman on forests great of holies holy of holies the through bar room and billiard room by fertility for unrivaled fields cultivated affluent and swamps uninhabited dismal long through villages thriving most and cities populous numerous through York new of state the of breadth entire the through gentlemen miles 60 and 100 3-4 not 4 the number 3-4 the word story my upon sidelight throw may information such for our canalers our what ye tell will I further proceeding ere and fine very shishas your cup my refill Don then well I north vigorous your of little but no we land hereditary and lazy most warm dull this in hereabouts Signor nay it have heard have must you canal eerie grand our to belonging boatmen they are Don canalers they are what and who pardon canalers your of heard never but harbours our in whale ships many seen have we Pedro Don cried canalers both were they. It's like every second word is canalers all of a sudden or canalers or canalers who knows. I remember cannolis though. I've had a cannoli. Shall I tell you about cannolis? No, I'm not going to tell you about cannolis. I went to Boston once for our honeymoon, me and my wife. She came too. We went to Mike's Cannoli, as recommended by my good friend Ben. He was the best man at the wedding, so he had every right to recommend that we get cannolis from Mike's Cannoli in Boston. If you're ever in Boston, Mike's Cannoli in Boston is the best cannoli in Boston. That's what Ben told us. Cannoli which I'd never had before. It turns out cannoli are absolutely vile, inedibly greasy. They're like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a cheesecake shoved up a brandy snap, deep fried. It's horrible. And when you bite into the end of it, the grease that comes out of it is like imagine a reservoir full of ghee, and you put your mouth over the kind of overflow pipe of a reservoir full of ghee. Mike's Cannoli, highly recommended. Go to Mike's Cannoli in Boston, the best cannoli in Boston. Thanks, Ben. Anyway, where was I? Canallers, not cannoli. Canallers both were they. Mastheads their standing were comrades, his of two were to a loft far leading backstays, the of one shaking was steel kilt, aft go could cry the air. Whale are like blood spouting hatch, the unfelly. I love the dark turns that Herman takes. Whale are like blood spouting hatch, the onfell he. Head his in stove was mate the of jaw lower the instant next the, cheek the touched hammer the immediately. Gods the by slaughter the forbranded bean had fool the gentleman, but him murder would, steel kilt, he cheek his grazed but hammer the if that persecutor his told, back it drawing creepingly, and him behind hand right his clenching steel kilt, glance his of poniard unflinching the with eye the in him stabbing, inch and of part thousandth the not retreating, maledictions insufferable of string are repeating meanwhile. Teeth his of inch and within hammer heavy the shook now, fixed stood Lakeman the ware, him to closer still coming, mate predestined the butt, yourself to look o'er, away hammer that take, you obey not will I. Radney Mister, whoever Radney Mister is. Officer the to spoke thus and hatches the unpaused Lakeman the humour his with comported as much as forborn. Now had he that him bethinking, retreat to longer no last at resolved when, windless the round slowly once went to the way this in and. Purpose no to was it but, man infatuated and foolish the off warned he hand twisted his with intimidation unspeakable and awful and by. Effect slightest the not had forbearance his that, however, seeing. Obey to not intention his repeated deliberately. Hammer menacing his with mate the by followed steadily, windless the round retreating slowly and rose steel kilt. Bidding his due to him commanding furiously, face his of inches few are within hammer the shook Radney incensed the last at till. Seat his to rooted doggedly remained he speaking without, him within conflagration the smothering still somehow but. Mate the in bearing this brook ill, but could steel kilt sweating the forbearance of feeling nameless first his all four. Pumps the at toil spasmodic, his by was he as irritated and heated. By Nick, I can't believe this is still going. I'm just gonna check forward. Let's just see how much further we've got to go. Oh my god, look at that. Just look at that. It goes on forever. Where was I? Just there. Whew. I'm feeling faint. It's so long. I'm actually feeling a little weak. The effort involved. I think I need a little break. I need 2 days away. Camping in a field in Cheshire. Yes, it was alright, the camping trip. The children actually slept both nights that we were there reasonably well. After a little persuasion. We had some burnable logs in a little fire pit. That was good. Got it going on the second night. Loads of logs we put on the second night. It was a huge blazing inferno on the second night. We got through a whole bag of logs and half a bottle of Talisker. It was marvellous. Nothing amusing about it particularly. Just a nice little chilled holiday. I guess the only funny thing was let's say inexperienced campers who turned up on the second afternoon, noisily set up their tent with their noisy children. They'd got a tent and a sort of hutch. You could stay in a hutch if you wanted. We went trad. We had a tent, obviously, but you could hire a hutch in which to sleep. So they had a hutch for the grown-ups, and the children were going to sleep in a tent. And the tent they had chosen to bring was, rather than the traditional poles and ropes and clips, they'd eschewed the poles and decided to bring an inflatable tent that you simply throw onto the ground and attach a pump, and after some short period of time the thing kind of inflates, pops up, and you can just get in it and sleep. It's fine, great. So they thought. When I got up in the morning, the following morning, to go for a wee, because I drank so much Talisker the night before, I got up to go for a wee, and as I was staggering to the toilet block on the campsite, because there was a toilet block, we're not savages, we're not Vikings, there was a toilet block, and I walked past their tent, their inflatable tent, to see the dad, the father of the inexperienced camping family, frantically pumping up with his hand pump the tent, which had deflated overnight, trapping most of his family inside. Much to my amusement, I think they were all fine. I think they lived. I think the only consequence was that presumably they woke up at one point and the ceiling was considerably less spacious than it was when they went to sleep, being about 6 inches in front of their face. Made me laugh anyway. Just desserts, because they were inexperienced campers, and we've been camping once in the last decade, so we know what we're doing. They evidently didn't know what they're doing. And there's nothing I find funnier than the misfortune of others. Speaking of misfortune, let's carry on with this chapter. By near cask from snatched had he which hammer club coopers uplifted and with. Lakeman seated still the upon advancing meanwhile, command his reiterating unconditionally manner outrageous and domineering most at in. Oath and with replied Radney this too. Day all nothing or little done had. Pumps the act billeted being not, who sweepers customary the as lads 3 to pointed he. Shovel the to alluding all at without, then and. It do not would he and. Business his not was deck, the sweeping that saying him answered he. Intemporarily he was he exhaustion bodily, the by broken little only, tone ordinary his in, therefore. Steel kilt overstole gentleman, feeling phantom nameless this, aggrieved when even men valiant really by. All at felt when felt most repugnance being ireful already in passionateness. Wouldn't passion do? If you're an editor, if you need to see passionateness and think passion would do, wouldn't it? Passionateness. Deeper the upstir to unwillingness and forbearance. Strange that, you see, he's just gone for long words, hasn't he? Forbearance and unwillingness to compromise my grandiloquence and deeper passionateness. Shit, I read a bit of it forwards. Unwillingness and forbearance, strange that. This all saw instinctiveness, I can't read any of it backwards now, saw instinctively he as. Them towards long burning silently slow match the and him in upheaped powder casks of stacks the perceived and eye malignant mates the into looked steadfastly he as and. Moment for still sat he as but. Command his uttered mate the when comprehended fully Lakeman the more much doubtless and this all and. This understand will whaleship in sailor gone has who man any. Face his in spat had Radney though as. Steel kilt insult and sting to meant plainly as almost was shovel the about order there. This that more was there but. Men too, the between stood affair this how exactly understand, may you that so particulars these all mention I. Comrades, his with case the being such, duties nautical truly with connected not business trivial, any from freed been have should he consequently, gangs the of one of captain assigned regularly been had steel kilt, all them of seamen doesn't count unfortunately, athletic most the being and, pumps the at turns taking, gangs into divided been had that town ho the in men stronger than was it besides. Aboard be there boys if, boys the of province prescriptive, the is business broom this vessel's all in but, faces their washing first without drown willingly not, would whom of some, seamen, come on, in neatness of love instinctive, the, see it's even love seamen and it still doesn't count, love instinctive, the and sea usages of inflexibility that is gentlemen such, time the at foundering actually ships of case the in done be to known been has it, evening every to attended regularly is gales raging, but times all in which work household of peace as sea, is sea at deck ships as sweeping gentlemen now. Large at run to pig, at allowing upon consequent matters offensive, some remove and shovel at also and planks the down sweep and broom a get to him commanded make the deck the along striding intolerably. Happened it so but not know I, state exasperated corporeally that in man as such with medal to Radney possessed that. Gentlemen, was it fiend cozening what now? Brow his from sweat profuse the wiping and, bloodshot eyes his, red fiery face his, windless the on down himself sat and, panting all forward went Lakeman the, band his of rest the with, last at pump the quitting. Oh, I'm tempted to quit myself. How long? I've still got 25 minutes to go. This is awful tonight. This is actually making me feel poorly. This is going on for far too long. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with this at all, Herman. Let me get my breath. Let me get my breath. This is challenging. This unbroken wall of text paragraph chapter is doing my head in. And also there's a fly in this room that's got in through the open window. I've had to open the window to get some breeze through because it's quite warm. And there's a fly, I don't know if you're being able to see it, and it was pestering me. It's annoying me, buzzing around, it's flapping against the screen. It's flying in front of these, the lights that I have, the many TV lights to make me look more attractive on what is it? Television? No. Something like television. And it's bothering me, it's buzzing around, it's annoying me. In fact, it's up there now. I can see it. It's landed on the wall. I could get it. I bet I could get it. What can I get it with? I bet I could get it with a post-it. No, I couldn't throw a post-it note at it. I haven't actually got anything. Oh, it's off now anyway. Now I look at it, there are multiple flies in this room. It's that flying ant day, isn't it? I bet. It's that special day of the year. They're all over the place. Maybe that's what's making me feel ill. My skin's crawling with all the insects around. I've just come back from camping. I should be braver than this about insects. But it is bothering me. It's like that episode of, everyone's favourite episode of Breaking Bad, isn't it? The Fly, it's called. The whole episode is called Fly. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, spoiler alert, there's a fly in one episode. And it buzzes around, and the protagonist of Breaking Bad, I guess you could call him the antagonist, I guess, the hero, the main one, Walt. He doesn't like this fly. He's going crazy trying to flap the fly all over the place in the science lab where they do all the things. I'm not going to give anything away, but they're in this science lab where they do the things. And he's flapping around, and he takes some. What is he on? He's on some sleeping pills or something. I can't remember. He's flapping. Everyone loves it. It's supposed to be like some. The whole episode is him flapping at a fly for like an hour, and it's the best episode. But it isn't the best episode of Breaking Bad. The best episode of Breaking Bad is where he throws the pizza on the roof. Everyone knows that. It's the best one. The whole thing leading up to when he throws the pizza on the roof. It's genius television. The whole whatever it is, 6 series. Is it 6 series, 5 or 6 series? And the spin-off, and the what's his name? The lawyer. The spin-off with the lawyer. I've forgotten the name of him. That whole spin-off with the lawyer. Better Call Saul. All of that. It basically, the whole thing pivots around Walter White throwing a pizza on the roof. For me, that's my opinion. That's the make or break show episode of Breaking Bad. If you give up before you see the pizza go on the roof, you really haven't done it justice. It's one of those you have to build up to it. It takes a while to get into the swing of it, build up the characters, and then he throws the pizza on the roof, and suddenly it all fits in. It all sort of beds in at that point. It all falls into place, and the rest of it is a roller coaster ride. But you're constantly thinking back to that moment where he throws the pizza on the roof. That episode with the fly, yeah. Take it or leave it. Hello, Al. Al's just turned up in the chat. Hello, Al, as he often does. Obviously wondering what brought us to discuss that. Flies, Al. That's what we're talking about. Remember last week when we started this episode? Remember in a previous life when we started this chapter 54? Still going strong. I think we're about 8% through it now. It's doing my head in. I'll continue because it's got to finish. You've got to end soon. Well, that's where we are. And look at this. It's still going. Oh, there's the end. It's in sight. It is within whatever that is. It's within 25 fingerings of the scroll wheel. I got this. Al's urging me on. He's cheering for me, so let's do it. Energies utmost, of which I have none. Energies utmost, life's of tension fullest, the denotes which heard was lungs, the of gasping peculiar, that long ere and. It to off hats there tossed men there. Fire engines 50 like clanged pump, that which and. Now lively, boys, lively. Cricket as merry, Steelkilt said. Sir, aye. It at away thunder. Oh, excuse me. It at away thunder. Talk sailors, the herd have to not pretending, Radney roared. For stopping pump. That what's eyes your damn. Knows his of model the me like devil poor I give heed if wonder I. Looking glasses in invested his property, his of rest the say they boys. To beauty and rad, soul old simple he's but. Him tell can I, estate his with devil the playing there. Scatter and overboard, jump to him tell I'd. Now here were rad old if. Suppose I, improvements making, bottom the at slashing, and cutting work at hard now, are M of posse hole the and. Not what and, filefish and sawfish, ship carpenters of gang are with again back come he's. Job that began only swordfish that, boys, is fact there. Home it toe and hull the of part his away cut best had he. It forego must investment rads old. Men, watch ye tell I, bottling worth its, lord the buy. Taste a have let's and, ye of one, cannikin a hold. This leak lively at its, lads merry my, aye. Eyes ye damn. Banterings gay, his with on went, unawed but, him noticed to not affected lakeman there. Rest the with pump the at toiling was he as near drawing mate the espying. It knew steel kilt and steel kilt loved not, did he? Malicious as, stubborn as, hardy as yet. Mule as ugly was, mate the Radney butt. Father Charlemagne's to son born been he had. Charlemagne's steel kilt maid had which, gentlemen, him in soul and heart and brain and charger snorting viceroys, last year of housings, tasseled the like beard golden flowing and Roman alike head with animal noble and tall our steel kilt events all at, gentlemen, may it as mine of conceit this be. It of dust of heap little make and tower subalterns that pulverize and down pull will he chance have he if and bitterness and dislike unconquerable and conceives he man that against straightway manhood of pride general in superior his significantly very be to them of one finds fellow men his over commanding placed person when that otherwise or watery hours of world conventional this in case the seldom not is it know well you as now. Oh at least there's only 53 chapters left after this. It's just straight up depressing. And no sperms, look at that, none. Again, not one sperm so far. Terrible. Scupper holes lee the at spout steady in out itself poured and deck the across ran pumps the from bubbling that gentlemen spring mountain any as clear water clear rippling the by overflowed continually feet there withstood they as them among ongoing slyly gamesomeness small no head this on was there pumps the at evening that working were they when so her in owner part a being his of account on only was it that declared seaman doesn't count the of some ship the of safety the about solicitude this betrayed he when therefore gentlemen imagine conveniently can you that sea on or land on creature unthinking fearless any as person own his touching apprehensiveness nervous of sort any to inclined little as and coward out of little was as was even suppose I Radney this now breeze that to expanded way every and a new home sheeted a new home sheeted hoisted well be to sails upper the commanded he mate the Radney by especially that was a fly trying to get in my hat. This is ridiculous. They're not flies, they're like little, I don't know what they are. If I knew what they were, I could kill them. I wouldn't care. But as it is, there may be an important biological specimen that needs to be analysed later. Yeah, fuck flies. I'm gonna make one of them my Moby Dick. I'm gonna go after it specifically, and then it is gonna tear me asunder. Where was I? Breeze the to expanded way every and a new home sheeted. I read that. Hoisted well be to sails commanded he. Mate the Radney by especially company her of several by manifested concern small some truth in was there more once gaining found was leak her when so town ho the with been it had way this much anxious little a field to begins captain her that latitude landless really some waters those of part way the of out very some in his vessel leaky when only is it them afforded is retreat reasonable other any if or coast accessible tolerably at a long lie it if is that length considerable of voyage for even chorus full in pump handles there at clanging keep to ships for unusual altogether it is gentlemen westward that to you from far seas savage and solitary the in nor bottom that are subsiding gently hands all of account on it remember again never would shipmates his and he that be would probability the respect that in duty his forget to happen deck the of officer the should night sleepy still out of though It across way whole their pumping of little think skippers some, example 4. Atlantic hour like ocean civilized and settled, in that no you must you. Day every pumps the at more or hour and require to as so only but, increasing again seemed leak town hose the that. Haven island her for prow her pointing after furthest the at 2 or day than more not was it. Please end. Here shall you, gentlemen, but steel kilt and mad maid and doomed was Radney but. Far thus so proved had he, events all at, docile and harmless retained been long had steel kilt this, treated thus. Right slaves meanest the is which recognition human of decency common that by tempered only, firmness inflexible by yet might, indeed devil of sort though, who mariner lakeman this and traits good-hearted some with man and Nantucketer this was yet. Bowie knives handled buckhorn of latitudes the from fresh seaman doesn't count backwards the as quarrel social of full and vengeful as quite he was yet. Pacific contemplative your and Atlantic austere our followed long had he life after in though. Sea maternal his at nurse to beach Nantucket lone the on down him laid have may he infancy his in though Radney for and. I've given up on punctuation now. I'm just breathing when I have to. It's just gone. It's a constant stream of nonsense. Any of mariner audacious as of much as nurtured wild ocean and born wild ocean was steel kilt inlander and though gentlemen thus. Crew shrieking, it's all with ship midnight, a many full drowned have they. Inland, however, land of sight of out for, our shipwrecks what know they? Wave salted the lash, that any as direful as blasts dismasting and borean by swept are they. Canoe beach the and steamer the, it really is a steamer. Steamer the, state the of cruiser armed the, ship merchant full rigged the alike float they. Villages Winnebago as well as Cleveland and Buffalo of capitals paved the mirror they. Emperors Tartar to robes give furs exported whose creatures silken and prey of beasts Afric wild harbouring woods same those. Genealogies Gothic in kings of lines serried like stand pines gaunt the where. Forests unentered. What is he talking about? This is utterly unnecessary, all this fucking nonsense. Forests unentered and ancient by flanked are leagues and leagues for. Wigwams peltry, they're out from flash faces painted red who's. Barbarians wild to beaches. Oh, a bit of racism coming in here now as well. Just into the mix, just to, polish off this episode. Barbarians wild to beaches their yield they, intervals at. Victory's naval of thunderings fleet the herd have they. Mackinaw lofty of guns craggy goat-like the by and batteries by upon frowned are there and here. Banks there round all dotted, east the from colonies territorial numerous, hour to approaches maritime long furnished they, is Atlantic the as, nations contrasting great two by shored are, part large in. Do waters Polynesian the as even, isles romantic of archipelagos round contain they. Climes of and races of varieties rimmed, it's of many with. Traits noblest oceans the of many with, expansiveness ocean-like and possess. Michigan and Superior and Huron and Ontario, and Erie. Yes, some lakes. List all the lakes. Windermere and Coniston and Bassenthwaite and Derwentwater and hours of seas freshwater grand those aggregate interflowing therein for. Ocean opened the with connected popularly impressions freebooting agrarian those all by nurtured, of course, not nature. Nurtured, been yet had, America hour of heart landlocked the inn. Lakeman this. Geez, 6 minutes left. Am I even going to finish this? Where are we? Good grief. There's still plenty to go. I can't stop this until this chapter's done. It's too depressing to start and end in a whole episode of this in the same chapter. I've got to finish it. I'm going to carry on till it's done. You don't have to stay, but I'm going to carry on till it's done. Manila far to Callao old, you're of outsailed ever, that any as stout and large as well nigh. Ships three-masted and brigs square sailing, gentlemen now, that all of further here soon shall you be made, courtesy your crave I, but Don Erie Lake, hour of shore eastern the on. Grass of mat swinging his in rising, Sebastian Don said, Buffalo is where and Lakeman is what, pray? Buffalo, Lakeman. Buffalo from Desperado and Lakeman steel-kilt of vengeance provoked bitterly the and. Vineyarder, I guess. Excuse me, as in Martha's Vineyard, perhaps. And Vineyarder mate the Radney of overbearing brutal, the forbeen not it had. Fatality least the of occurrence, the without port her at safety perfect in arrived certainly, but all had town ho the. Breezes prosperous very by attended being passage this of hull the nigh well truth in. Her on double should leak the if mine never. Free ship the keep easily could his of men 36 those. Them at relief periodically being and. Best the of were pumps his because way the by founder would ship his that fear all at not did he. Favoured chance commonest the if. Yet her before was passage small no though. Repaired and out hove hull his have to there. Islands the among harbour nearest the for away stood. Sail all making. Captain the alarm some taking now that so much so. Increased sensibly it but undiscovered yet leak the was only not and by went days more. Came look good no but intervals easy and wide at pumps the at working mariners the cruisings her continued still ship the weather heavy rather impossible was as down low as hold the searching after it find not could they. Indeed though dangerous all at considered them being not leak the and them quit to averse very being therefore and latitudes those in him awaited look good rare that believing for reason unusual some having captain the butt gentlemen her stabbed had swordfish as supposed they common than hold her in water more made she that observed was it usage daily to according pumps the handling upon morning one line the of northward that to somewhere was she in golden good this of eves the from eastward sail days many not very not here Pacific Urin cruising was Nantucket of whale a sperm. Yes, we got one, our first sperm of the day. Here we go. I'm gonna draw it. The ceremony begins. There's its big sticky head. Because let's face it, we're not going to find any more sperms. We're not going to fill this board today. There's its engine. And there's its flagellum. Awesome. One massive sticky-headed sperm. That's cheered me right up. That's made it all worthwhile. I feel like we've made some progress. A sperm at last. Town ho, the gentleman. You to rehearsing. Watch like a whole flood of sperm happen now. Watch so many sperm hit. One after sperm after sperm after sperm. I'm going to be inundated. I'm not going to be able to draw them. You watch. Town ho, the gentleman. You to rehearsing about. Am I which events the learning first my to prior years to some. Time the at answered duly are which and. Put occasionally they questions interluding the hence and. Me with terms closer the on were Sebastian and Pedro, Dons young the cavaliers fine those of. In golden, the of piazza tiled thick gilt the upon smoking, Eve Saints one, friends Spanish my of circle lounging a two, Lima at it narrated once I which in style the preserve shall I, sake humours my four. Oh, we got a footnote. Where's this a footnote from? Can we see an asterisk? Here. There, it's from there. So what do? We read all of this here down to here, then we come back to here. I'm going to mark here so we don't lose it. Record lasting on put to proceed. Now I affair strange this of Holther. Ship the on narrated publicly as story the with thread darker this place proper it's in interweaving. Mainmast Pequods the abaft transpired never it that so themselves among secret the kept they that matter this in governed they were. So it call to delicacy strange as such by and it of knowledge full that who came who Pequod the in seaman doesn't count. Those on have thing this did influence and potent so nevertheless. Rest the withhold well not could he wakened was he when that way that in it of much so revealed and sleep his in rambled Tashtego night following the but secrecy of injunctions Romish with Tashtego to it communicated seems it whom of one ship that of seaman doesn't count white at least it's white seaman confederate 3 of property private there was it himself townho the of captain that to unknown was story the of part secret that 4 mates his or Ahab captain of ears the reached never narrated be to about tragedy the of part secret the called be may what forming accompaniments particular own it's with a circumstance latter this men some overtake to said are times at which God of judgments called so those of one of visitation inverted wondrous certain a whale the with involved to obscurely seemed which story town hose I'm going to scroll up a bit story town hose the of circumstance are by heightened wildly now was whale white the in interest general the sum too Dick Moby of news strong us gave she ensued that gam short the inn Polynesians by wholly almost manned was she encountered was and here we go the ancient whale cry upon I nearly read it forwards. That would have been a terrible mistake. So excited was I to have found the right place. Terrapin Galapagos, famous the hunting in whalemen by used still, masthead the from whale a sighting first upon whale cry ancient the. Now back up here. Town ho the whaleman homeward bound, another that Goni, the speaking after long very not was it. Oh, I'm going to relish this. It's only 2 minutes over. We're about to finish this incredible chapter. Part other. Any in than travellers more meet you where. Highway great out of corners 4 noted some like much is. There about round region watery the all and. Hope good of Cape the. In golden, the at told as. Story town hose the 54 chapter. Shit the bed. It is done. It is done. That has been the worst hour of my life, has to be said. The worst hour of my life. Reading that backwards, that has been an incredible mission for which I think I deserve a break. So that'll last until next Friday, that break, and then I'll be back doing this again. Al points out that I did it to myself. I didn't know, did I? I did it for you. I did it for you specifically, and the general you. Everyone who comes across this in all of the whole of posterity, whatever that even means. The subsequent viewers will be doing this to themselves. I merely facilitate what you are doing to yourself right now by watching this. By watching this, by enjoying this, by liking and subscribing to this, by clicking things. I'm now being properly attacked by a fly. It is right in the way. I think I'm done. Got it! There it is! I actually got it. Look there. I got one. No. In the bin. In the bin. I have a bin down there, and there's now a fly in it. To be fair, that is, I know animal cruelty and everything. I need to put a disclaimer on this now that animals were harmed during the making of this episode. But there are quite a few left. So I don't think the flies are going to really miss out. You know, that one fly, you know, statistically speaking, really, it's none are dead. It's no worse than coronavirus, really. That one fly, you know, we can shuffle the numbers around a bit. We can say that the fly died 3 days ago, and the excess deaths in the fly population we can't actually prove that I killed the fly. All we can show is that one extra fly died on this occasion. And the fly was stupid enough to come into my office and not self-isolate outside where it should stay. It came inside. It wasn't wearing a mask. It deserved what it got. You know, and the real tragedy is now that is only the precursor. That is the harbinger of doom for all the rest of the flies that are now going to catch the same, you know, corona hand smacking them down. That I'm going to have to go around and get them all. Like Pokemon. I hope none of them evolve in front of my eyes. Got to catch them all. That's what I was getting at, you see. My kids play Pokemon. I played Pokemon for the first time. I played it for 2 hours. Pokemon Shield on the Switch. I feel considerably stupider than I did before I started. I'm sure I've forgotten important things, but I now know that a Greeble is, you know, beats a Hoojamy Flop because it is a grass type. The one entertaining thing is renaming them. I like giving them all nicknames. When I find one, I catch one, and then I give it a name, and then I laugh at the name every time it comes up. There's one of them, right? It's got a name, but it's just a fox. So I named it It's a Fox. And every time it comes up and it says it's a fox, it makes me laugh. Simple pleasures. My children are far more imaginative than I am. Anyway, I'm done. Like and subscribe. Click on you can't click on it. You have to type it in. The nvm.org. Go and support the National Video Game Museum.org. Do that now. Go and support them. If you can't support them, well, what was the point? You've watched this for nothing, and you're wasting everyone's time if you can't support them. Don't support me, but support them. And I'll be back next Friday for more of this total dogshit hogwash. So until then, you know, enjoy yourself. Bye.